NANI?!
Ah, my mic's not even on. There we go. I'm sorry, folks. We got the mic on now. Yeah, let's go into 2x. Make sure my microphone is enabled there. Sorry for the technical difficulties and the slow start. It's really hard getting roots laid out on a slide, especially a bunch of them. Anyway, first root here we are checking out is a dandelion root. Alright, so we already see some really cool glowing going on. So anyway, this is Epi-Florescent lighting with the LW scientific scope. And what the Epi-Florescence is a very narrow wavelength, and it makes things with a lot of phosphorus glow very brightly, like we're seeing there in the middle. Here we can zoom in. We'll go into 2x, and it's interesting. We're already see this black line right here. That's definitely a fungal hyphae. Oh, it doesn't seem like I got my pointer. Oh yeah, I got to do this with my pointer. So yeah, this black line going right through here is fungal hyphae. So that's endophytic fungi in a dandelion. So that's very cool. Yeah, let me see if I can get a little bit more brightness here. We'll go up to about, yeah, I like about that ISO. And yeah, we'll keep it at 30. Do a little bit of focus here. Oh yeah, I also got to bring up my chat so I can see what you guys are saying. Feel free to ask any questions about soil microscopy, or can ask questions about regenerative soil and practices like that. Come on, let me move my chat. Alright. Hold on one. What the heck? It won't let me move my chat. We're gonna get to things second. Sorry, we're working out the technical difficulties and everything. Oh, what the heck. Alright, well, we'll deal with chat on this window, I guess. OBS is the pain in the butt when it doesn't let you do stuff. Alright, so let's go to there. Alright. And docs. Chat. Okay, yeah, feel free to ask any questions. You got the chat up now. And, yeah, let me actually maximize this. We're going to have to use the OBS preview here. Since my screen's covered by the chat. What a pain in the butt. Anyway, yeah, let's continue on looking down this dandelion root. We are at 100x magnification. And, yeah, a whole lot of root hairs. It's pretty bright glow in there. Let's see. All sorts of cool things. Yeah, it's hard to see. You really need stains, as far as I know, from James White to see, endophytic fungi and whatnot. But we might be able to see a couple little specks in there that could be. We're only at 100x. We'd have to go in a little bit closer to see bacteria. But right now, we're basically just looking at fungi. And we see a bunch of, soil aggregates stuck to the root. Right there in the middle, those black spots. But as far as figuring out what the mineral contents of those actually are, you would need a spectrometer. Maybe one day we'll have spectroscopy built into microscopy. But we're not quite there yet. That's something that somebody should get into and figure out. But yeah, we're just learning about the one of the biometers that are coming out to detect different stuff. That's all spectroscopy, and different lights and different wavelengths can then be correlated to different species and different minerals. But you just imagine the amount of work that will take. Different environments, different lighting, different this and that makes it very difficult. But yeah, like right there in the middle, that bright green glowing thing, that's a little probably chunk of phosphorus. So phosphorus, we figured out with this particular, cyan blue wavelength that the Epi-Florescence, that works out really well. Very narrow wavelengths that is very specific and makes phosphorus glow. So look how bright this dandelion root is growing over here. Pretty bright. So this root did come out of my my garden bed. So we have done some inoculants. Not seeing, it's definitely pretty bright, and especially in that green color. And we did see that nice dark strand. So there is some sort of endophytic fungi in there. So it does seem like the dandelion is pairing. Let's get into better focus over here. We're getting to the edge. I think this root's rising up a little bit. There we go. Dialed into focus. Oh yeah, right there in the middle. Yeah, am I going to bump into this root if I go into 400x? Yeah, let's go in to 400. Oh, yep, I bumped into it a little bit. Yeah, let's go back out. Alright, am I still going to bump into this thing? There we go. Now we're in at 400x. Yeah, I'm moving it just slightly. Let's see. If we can get right over here. Yeah, I think that's a root hair laying on the outside. Trying to get a good focus on the inside. Yeah, but you can definitely see where'd my pointer go? There it is. Oh, I lost focus a little bit. Where'd it go? Right about. Oop. Going very bright green in the middle. Where was it? I saw a good example of a fungal hyphae. I'm sure we can find another. If we scan on up over here. Oh. I'm moving the root around with my objective. It's making it very difficult. Let's see if we can get a focus in here. Oh, yeah, bumping the root. Up, right there. Ooh. Yeah, we're bumping the root at 400 because it's a little off. Let's see if we can find it again. There it is. Had to switch back out to 100, but yeah, there's a flat part. We should be able to get in there. Oh, where'd we go? See if we can focus on that without moving it. There we go. Oh. It's really hard to get good focus with a microscope on a three-dimensional object. Oh yeah. Right there in the middle, that's definitely a little. It's hard to see. But right here you can see that's definitely fungi in this dandelion. But yeah, let's go back out to 100x. Get our focus back dialed in. And we got quite a few roots here to go through. So examine the differences that we see between them and whatnot. Yeah, it's definitely a good beneficial. Like I had to. It's amazing how deep the roots will go, even a small dandelion that I picked out. Yeah, do I still have it over here? Yeah, yeah. Even this small little tiny dandelion, this taproot was going down quite a ways. It snapped from when I was pulling it out. Tried to get the lowest root that was nice and small to put on the slide, but they are good miners. Can help with a lot of things. Calcium. All right, so we are going to move on to what did I have next? Okay, so this is wheatgrass root. This is actually an over winter cover crop that I did. Ooh, really close to the mic when I lean in. Sorry if I'm too loud there. All right, let's get focused. All right. Yeah, seeing all kind of root hairs hanging off of this thing. Looking pretty neat. Very brightly glowing. Scroll on down. Yeah, all the wispy things that you're seeing off the side, those are all root hairs. And let's scroll on through. Up. Right there in the middle, I think I see some fungi. So this is outside of my garden bed. So this is inoculated with mycorrhizae. And yeah, let's actually go all the way into 400 and see if I can get what I was seeing right on the screen here. Yeah, right here. That looks like fungi. Yep. Small, but where'd my pointer go? There you are, pointer. Right here. It's definitely inside. And it's not, following the, the shape of the cell walls. And it's definitely endophytic fungi growing inside of the plant roots. So we'll go back out. Yeah, we'll stay in 2x. So right now we're at 100x magnification with the scope, but I actually got it magnified digitally by just a little bit, or 2x or so. So essentially we're getting 4K from the camera right now, and we're kind of zoomed into 1080p. Yep. It's kind of interesting how all roots look a little bit different. They all glow a little bit differently. Oh, that's a cool looking. I don't know if that's just a root hair or it could be it's definitely a tube. You can see right there on the top. But yeah, it's kind of laying on top of. Could be a little piece of, I don't know, hair or something, but let's move on. Yeah, so we see all the aggregates and the soil right there, all stuck to the root. Let's move on to a little bit clearer spot, see what we can see. Yeah, so you can see all that, the veins there is glowing because that's all the spaces between the cells of the plant. And that's glowing quite a bit. Probably up top there on the root is a little piece of phosphorus. Picture. Oh. Close this aperture. Yeah, it doesn't matter much. And let's see if we can find anything else glowing really bright. Yeah, we're seeing some right in right in over there. That looks like some glowing hyphae. right through this area. I think we might have some mycorrhizal in there. Fixing some phosphorus. Up top too, this little wavy. See how this one just kind of waves up and around there? So yeah, even this wheat looks like it's got some symbiotic fungi growing inside the root. Super bright glowing spot there. Oh yeah, that looks like it's on top of the root. Something full of phosphorus. Just sitting on top. Yeah, we got some more dark looking fungal hyphae. A lot of root hairs sticking off of this wheatgrass. Look at all those up there. Alright. So let's see. That's about the end of the wheatgrass. Alright. Yeah, and actually if I make some adjustments here and actually go lower ISO, might get a little less glow overlapping, a little sharper image. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. A little less noise, since this is glowing so bright. Yeah, right there, it looks like fungi and might even be in a inoculation site. So we see a little strand, little aggregate, and then pretty bright green under it. I like seeing the neon green, not so much the yellow. But anyway, we're going to go on next to, what's the next root? Alright, next up is onion. This is actually going to be a pretty big root. Yeah, fills the whole screen. We might want to bump back out to stock, no digital zoom. Let's take a look at the onion root. Oh yeah. Holy cow. Let's actually see. We might want to go up in brightness just a little bit, but there's a whole bunch of endophytic fungi. Yeah, we'll go back to 2500. It's not glowing quite as bright, but let's see. Let's go into, let's do the 2x and look at all those. Yeah, right above, right there. So yeah, these are actually Valhalla walking onions from Garden Like a Viking. Check out his channel. I think he's got a website now, gardenlikeaviking.com. So I bought these walking onions from him, and yep, they're planted. This is actually from my indoor bed. I planted a few in there, and the ones outside are growing really nice. But holy cow, yeah, there's a lot of fungal hyphae. You can see they're not glowing, but that's fungal hyphae in the root. So it's some sort of endophyte. Might not be AMF, or it actually could be AMF. Not really a good way to tell unless you see those inoculations points where the phosphorus is really glowing, which I bet we'll see if we can find. Yeah, definitely looks like some fungal hyphae. Yeah, definitely the sideways one going here. Don't think that's a root hair laying on top. Let's continue on. Yeah, we see a really bright green thing there. Let's see if we can get a decent focus on it. Yeah. One thing that I found really interesting about the walking onions is, even though I planted some outdoor and some indoor, The ones indoor, even though it was a controlled environment, I think the coldest it got in the indoor grow room was 55 through the winter, and they really just stalled out and didn't do much through the winter. And then, even though the environment didn't change that much, as soon as the outdoor ones started growing, the indoor ones started growing. It's like they, despite they have an internal clock. They didn't care that it was. I gave them a nice, good environment all winter, but they still just kind of slept through the winter and didn't really grow much. And literally took off at the same time the outdoor ones did. I found that to be pretty funny. Yeah, definitely a lot of endophytes. Not seeing a whole ton of glow, except for a little bit of phosphorus bits here and there on the outside. Let's see what that bright dot is right there, if we can focus on it. Oh, yeah, just a little bit of fungi. But yeah, a whole lot of those dark fungal hyphae. The plants are really healthy. So, they're helping. Yep, there we got a bit of a focus on another. Some more hyphae. And some glowing spots right there too. Refocusing on this, and then we got one more slide for you guys today with 3 more roots. We're about to do we got a raspberry. What else did I put on there? Oh, we got a tomato, which we're gonna save for last. The tomato, I actually inoculated the seed with mycorrhizae, so I'm interested to see what that is gonna look like. But, oh yeah, very cool. All sorts of. Yep, so we got glowing hyphae, we got dark hyphae. That might even be a spore growing inside. That's one of the coolest things about mycorrhizae. If you get mycorrhizae roots, even if the plant dies, those roots are going to seek out and pair with other roots. So I've been thinking about actually like sticking a squash or something for a month or two in my compost and letting, an inoculate, just taking a little bit of inoculate, put it on a seed, throw it in your compost, let those roots grow, and now you got a whole bunch of mycorrhizae inoculated roots. So now you take that compost, put it on your soil, and those roots the mycorrhizae in the roots, I should say, will spread right out. All right, let's grab the next slide for the next 3 roots. Pull that out. And, it's actually right here. All right, are they still laid out in the right place? No wind blowing them? All right. Let's get over onto the first one that we're going to look at is raspberry. Alright, let's actually get way over here on this end. Alright, so this is a native raspberry, a red raspberry that grows wild on the property. Been trying to propagate them. I want to make they like growing up towards the drier parts of my property, so I'm trying to add a little bit of sand to the soil and make a little raised bed for them down towards where I am, closer to the water. Yeah, let's see, is that inside or outside? Yeah, so yeah, we got some fungal hyphae. That's definitely some fungi. A little bit more focus. Oh yeah, so after this is going to be blueberry. Then we're going to look at a young tomato root. Right now we're looking at raspberry. Pretty interesting looking. Yeah, I wonder if I lower the ISO a little bit, if we can see just a little bit more detail in this root. It's glowing very brightly. Yeah, it's not too... Yeah, it's funny. All roots look a little bit different. The raspberry doesn't have... I'm not seeing those defined, plant cells as much. A whole bunch of minerals stuck on it there. Let's get over to maybe about here. See if we can get some focus. Yeah, see some interesting tiny little things glowing there. Actually go in a little bit closer on those. Yeah, those are interesting little phosphorizing strands that I'm pretty sure is fungi. Go back out to just regular 2x zoom with the 100x objective. So basically we're taking the 4K image from the camera and zooming into 1080p right now, which is why I decided to switch the stream settings off of 4K and back down to 1080, because that way when I digital zoom for you guys, it's not upscaling. And I feel 1080p makes for a pretty good image. And then it's all around nice and solid. 4K is only a really benefit if people are watching on like a 40-inch screen or something. And I don't think too many people are doing that. Yeah, glowing a whole bunch right at the end where the tweezers pinched it. I find that a lot, where wherever I pinch the root or where the root breaks, there's a whole lot of glow. I think we kind of squeeze some phosphorus out of there, so to speak. Let's just go pretty cool looking. Go into 4x real quick. See if we can get a good shot. Yeah, I got quite a bit of noise, but do a little bit of focus. Pretty neat looking. That's a cool looking little mineral cluster. Almost looks like a brain right there. Alright, so next up we got blueberry root. Scroll on down and find that one. And where are we? Blueberry root. Ah, right about there. Alright, let's go back out to stock. Zoom. What's going on here? Whoa. Long root hairs. Yeah, it could be where it sealed itself off. Yeah, because it probably is, it's trying to repair itself, so it's oozing out some, some materials to, seal that wound and protect itself. But wow, look at how bright that little root hair is. Or it might be a piece of... I don't see any septi in it. It would be a very large fungal hyphae, but no, I think that's just a... Yeah, it's getting smaller towards the end, tapering off. Definitely a root. That's interesting. All right, where are we on this? This thing goes all over the place. Wow. Yeah, I was surprised. I pulled out this. It's a native blueberry that grows wild here in New England. And it was impressive at how many little root hairs are on this one little root. Very different looking from the other roots. Yeah, it's actually, I'm going to go back over here to the more flat laying part. Yeah, let's go right over here to this little cross section. Pretty interesting looking. It's amazing how much all these root hairs are really glowing on the blueberry. But the actual root itself is pretty bland and not glowing that much. The root hairs are pumping in phosphorus. Let's go up. Yep, we're going to go up one more in ISO. Trying to find where the thicker part of this root is that's laying nice and flat. Yeah, let's follow this segment down. Get a little bit more focus in here. So it's tough to find. I had to go pretty pretty close to the base of the blueberry bush, which is probably, I don't know, probably 10 years old or so. But yeah, look how bright the glowing is. So this was, yeah, just shortly off the base of the blueberry, because I wanted to, there's so many roots in the soil, I had to make sure that I got a blueberry root. So I kind of just traced around a thick root until I can make sure that I grabbed the hold of a root that was connected to it. Pretty wild looking. Definitely way more root hairs than any of the other roots. Trying to see if we can get maybe right over. Oh, that's a little too high. Maybe this part. See if we can find any more really cool parts to look at. But yeah, that's all. It all just twists up. It looks like to the naked eye like this is just one strand of root, but it's actually a twisted mesh of roots. Yep, blueberries are pretty cool. Trying to see if I can. But yeah, you can really see the plant cells on the blueberry, much more defined. All those squares there. And we're seeing a couple of glows. Might be inoculation points. Might be some fungi hanging off the side of it there. It's very small. It's tough to get focused because this root is not laying very flat on the slide right now. Yeah, who knew blueberry roots were this interesting as far as how many little root hairs they have going every which way. They are pretty small. Wish I could find a little bit more equal sized one to the other ones, but I thought it was equal size, but it's actually just a twisted, it's like a rope, it's all twisted up, leading me to believe that it was much bigger than it is. Yeah, but all the hairs are glowing super bright. All right. Let's see. All right, so last but not least is my blueberry that I just planted. Yeah, this year, which I inoculated with mycogenesis from AEA. So just put a little bit and coated the outside of the root. I mean, the outside of the seed, and then planted it. So here is the tomato. Glowing very brightly. And let's see. Oh yeah, I'm definitely seeing, that's a tube right there. Or a hyphae, I should say. Let's see if we can go in 400x. And I got a good focus on what I was just seeing. So tough. Wish half the chat wasn't covering my screen here. Oh, well, let's move it over just a little bit there. There we go. Now I can. Yeah, we're at 4x. Digital zoom here. Definitely glowing very brightly. It's a good sign. Got plenty of phosphorus for the moment. Oh yeah, I'm seeing some. Yeah. Right there is definitely fungal hyphae. Splitting. One's going this way, one's coming up this way. Yeah, and I think a lot of these tubes aren't super square, and looks like glowing fungal hyphae. Oh, we're getting to a super bright part up here. Wow. Glowing super bright. Probably even turn down our ISO a little bit. Yeah, there we go. We're seeing a little bit more details. Yeah, it looks like there's a swarm of stuff going on in there. Especially right over here in this bottom spot. Look at all these little glowing strands. Yeah, I'm definitely liking the AEA mycogenesis. A lot of things that I've used it on have really seemed to like it. It takes a little bit before you really start seeing that plant expression from, like, compared to a you dump a bunch of nitrogen on there and you get an immediate plant response, but it's just the growth response. Sometimes you can overdo nitrogen and basically make your plant a pest and bug magnet, because they love eating unhealthy plants filled with nitrogen. So basically with the mycorrhizae, you just see that just vibrant health of your plant and not getting eaten by bugs, and starts expressing itself in whole new ways. But it takes a little bit. It takes a little bit of patience. The symbiotic relationship and the partnership has to form. Just got to give it a little bit of time. And then you get these nice shining leaves, no pests, whole new level of plant health. Mycorrhiza is actually boosting your plant's immune system, providing phosphorus, pretty much setting up a trade network inside your plants, mobilizing all sorts of nutrients. Let's see. Another bright glowing spot. Right here, you kind of see some formation, but of the cells. Tomato root is not as defined as some of the other ones. But then we see these interesting little glowing fragments like that one, like this one. This could even be an inoculation point. Here, bring that over. It kind of looks like something. So you can kind of tell, like, okay, we're out of focus above the root. There's the top of the root in focus. So right there, and now we're going into the root. So you can kind of tell with the focus on, what's on top, what's inside. Alright, moving on. Yeah, let's look at these couple of bright glowing spots. Try to get the best focus in on them. Yeah, excited for these tomatoes. I mixed up my seeds, actually, saving them over the winter from last year. So I'm not sure if this is a purple bumblebee or an atomic tomato. But we'll see. Kind of makes it more fun that way. Even though I probably should have labeled them. Alright. Yep. Oh no, this isn't quite to the end. Wow. This is glowing really bright. Let's see, is this the younger or the... Oh no, yep, this is where I, yeah, this whole part over here to the left all got pinched. Because I was rushing when I was setting up for the stream because I was a little bit late. So, yep. So this whole part is oozing with and squished a little bit. Which seems to make it glow very brightly when it gets squished. But yeah, let's see. Do we have a segment coming off of there? Nope. Alright. Yeah. I really wanted to do this stream to just compare different roots. And it is interesting that all roots look, from one to the next. There's slight differences in all of them. And the thickness of their cell walls, how much they're glowing in between, how much they're overall glowing. Super fascinating. But yeah. Let's see, do we have any more questions? I'm going to go back out to... Yeah, let's go back out to 2x here. So now 2x digital zoom. Just kind of scrolling back across, getting a good look at the whole rest of the thing. Yeah, but Epi-Florescence is pretty fun. So anyway, if we were to, just to show you guys, if we were to turn on, what's my light on? Let's make sure that's all the way down. So if we were to turn on the backlight, oh, I'm way... Let's bring you up. Yep, there we go. Turn up the light. So now we're using the bottom light. Before we were just using the top-down epi-fluorescent light. And if we turn off the epi, this is what the root would look like in regular bright field. Kind of adjust our, yeah, yeah, somewhere right about there. We can kind of see through it. So just to give you guys an example of, you know, what the Epi can do compared to just bright field, you really can't see any of that glow. And a lot of times, this is a pretty thin root. A lot of times it's hard to even see through the root. A lot of times it just shows up black. Yeah, like on this part, can't even really see through it. So it's pretty neat. The Epi gives us a whole different way to look at things, which I think is going to lead to, you know, a lot more understanding on, you know, what our roots are actually doing, and, you know, seeing Arbuscular Mycorrhizal Fungi, seeing other endophytic fungi, all sorts of stuff. And, yeah, it's going to lead to just more understanding about roots and plants and how they all work symbiotically with all the microbiology and the whole entire soil food web. And, you know, figuring out just what certain species work together best in different environments, because it's all different. You know, what works in, you know, out west isn't going to work with, you know, necessarily be the same. You know, it could work, but it's not going to be the same as what works in different climates. You know, it's all these different mixes, and I think there's going to be a lot of different mixes of different microbes that all work together, just like there's a lot of different mixes and all different, you know, from tropical to, you know, temperate to wherever. That's interesting. Is that a big old spore right in the middle or on top? Let's zoom in on that real quick. But, yeah. If anybody has any last questions before we're just about to call it. Get a really good shot. Probably have to zoom in at 400x or whatever. It could just be an oval aggregate, just like, you know. This stuff over here is just dirt. I was thinking that was the shape of a spore, but hit or miss. But you can see, even in bright field, you can see some fungal hyphae strands in there. It's not as easy to see, but it's cool to see it in, you know, 2 different lighting systems to confirm what you are looking at, to make sure that, oh yeah, that is, you know, that's definitely not, you know, part of the plant. That's fungi in there. It's not just something glowing. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad everybody joined. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah. Oh, Western Australia. Awesome. Hey, what is it? Cecily, right? Probably butchered that. Sorry. But anyway, awesome that you're here joining from Western Australia. And yeah, glad to share my experience and some footage with the whole world, so you guys can gain a little bit of experience. And yeah. It's all about that sharing. We can all learn together. And yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Glad you guys all enjoyed. Yep. So yeah, hit those buttons if you would be so kind. And trying to grow the channel. One of these days it might get monetized, but nevertheless, I still just enjoy sharing with you guys and feel like it's important to share this kind of, because it's all just another way of seeing things. You know, just like we go out and look in our garden, observe our plants and how they're doing, we can also, you know, put a sample under the microscope and observe how our soil health is doing. And, you know, now we can even, you know, and like in this video, we're looking at the roots and looking for differences and, you know, seeing if it's healthy, seeing if, you know, what signs we can see to correlate, you know, to what we see outside in the garden. So it's gonna be we're gonna find out a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, until the next one, we'll catch you on the flip side. Happy gardening, everyone.